Welcome to another episode of the Tower 26 Speed Racer Podcast. I'm Jimmy here with Coach Jerry Rodriguez. Coach, how you doing?
I'm sitting in your freezer box
Oh
here.
man, it was 30 degrees colder this morning. I was thinking about you when I was in here. I was like, this guy's gonna be frigid. He's gonna be shivering, and I'm gonna have to somehow warm him up. Warm him up real nice.
I go to Utah, and I'm at 7,200 feet of altitude. It's snowing higher up.
Yeah.
I come to California, and I'm expecting some warm weather.
Yeah.
I walk in, it's colder here than it is there.
Yeah. We brought the cold weather for you. I was in Arizona this weekend. It was beautiful, not a cloud in the sky. Race conditions perfect, windy as usual. I drive back into LA. It's just monsoon. It dropped 30, 40 degrees by the time I got here.
Man, it was, yeah.
But
you guys had a lot of rain the last few days.
Yeah, I wasn't here for it. I was in Arizona grinding it out, baby. Another successful Ironman Arizona.
I was tracking you guys. Tell me about it.
It was the last year of the race. So it was kind of bittersweet going out there. And
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they're not
This
doing
is
Arizona. Last year at Tempe.
Why?
Yeah.
What's the?
It's the same excuse. Ironman gave the same excuse or the same reason that they're not doing it in St. George anymore is the town is growing too big and they can't accommodate a race. They can't shut down the town for a day to accommodate an Ironman.
Wait a minute. Did I hear this before in Kona?
Yeah, Kona. I mean, every we were going to it. We're gonna have to start going to. I was driving through Blythe on the way home. I'm like, maybe they should have Ironman Blythe. I'm sure that they would allow a race to come. They would love to see all these spectators come in, but seems like Tempe's get a little too big for their britches. But it's just a yearly pilgrimage out there, and we're gonna miss that one. But we went out on top, buddy. We went out as a team and as an individual. We went out on top. It was a great.
We had a number of top 10 finishers and a number of top 3 finishers.
Oh yeah, top 10
finishers,
finishers across. I mean, we had 4, 5, 6. I think we were 7 top 10 finishers.
Nice.
We had 4 of us on the podium. We had 3 Kona qualifications. We had 14 Tower 26 athletes racing, 11 of which had personal bests, and it wasn't an easy day. There was no assisted swim, right? There was no help in the Arizona swim. It's just dead flat water. If anything, you get a head current on the way back.
It's cold at times.
And
Was it this time?
It was mid-60s. It wasn't as cold as it's been years past, and then on the bike, typically you get a headwind going uphill out to the turnaround, and then you get a tailwind coming back. So you work your tail off going to the turnaround, and then you come back at 40 miles an hour, just kind of freewheeling.
Right.
Because the wind is just pushing you from behind.
Yep.
And then the run is just, it's just hard concrete the whole way. It just,
Slave
as
away.
you see me walking around right now, you can see why it beats you up.
Well, concrete.
So it's a hard course. It's a very challenging course, and our athletes showed up. And like I said, a lot of good success on that course. Me, I just raced patient all day, right? I swam relaxed. I swam strong, but I didn't get ahead of myself. I stayed within myself. I think I swam a 104, 105, somewhere in there. I actually haven't even looked what I swam.
Yeah, 104, 105.
Maybe you know what I swam.
Yep, 105.
I got through transition quick, and I knew it was going to be a good day because I felt great through transition. I had one of my typical transitions, Jer. I don't know if you noticed that.
Well,
in and out, baby.
You are Mr. Transition. You collectively, when you add T1 and T2 for you, you're usually at any event you do in the top 1/10 of 1%.
Yeah, and that's
Not just 1%. Top 1/10.
Well, it's swim, transition, bike transition, run transition. It's all part of the race. So I've just ingrained that into my racing, and I know when I get into T1, and I feel that edge. I know it's going to be a good day. So I got out on the bike, and I think it's 3 loops. First loop, I think I averaged 300 watts. I was feeling great, and my heart rate was chill. It wasn't like I was overexerting myself. Second and third loop, started to feel a little bit of fatigue, backed it down to about 70 to 80%, but I was racing my race. So as I've told,
wait a minute. Even at 70, you still rode like 440, something like that?
Yeah, so I averaged 265 watts normalized power. So I was moving pretty well. So I was happy with the bike time, and I felt a little energy. I was lagging a little energy come the third loop. My legs were getting a little tired, but I stayed on top of my nutrition. I had 2 bottles with this Flow 300, the Precision Hydration Flow 300 gel, and I put a little extra salt in each one of these, and I finished off 1.5 bottles of that, plus about 6 or 7 gels. So I went through about 500 to 600 grams of carbohydrates on the bike, plus another
500 to 600
grams of carbohydrates in 4.5 hours.
Divide that by 4.5.
Yeah, so
you're at 125.
Yeah, I was up there with grams of carbohydrates.
Yep.
Plus, I stand up on top of my electrolytes. I had nonstop was drinking Precision Hydration 1500, and I had tablets that was dropping in my front end system as I refilled it at every aid station. right? So I was constantly taking electrolytes. I don't even know how much I had.
You're a billboard now for
it works.
pH, right?
As you know, it works.
Oh, yeah.
I got out, and I finished the bike. Same thing, got in T2, and I knew, hey, I feel good. Let's throw on the socks, let's throw on the shoes, get out of here. And I started moving, and I just fell right in that 6:45 pace. I had people on course telling me, they were saying, hey, you're 5 minutes down. You're in 5th place in your age group, 5 minutes down from 1st. And I know I've raced this. This is my 8th time racing Arizona,
Okay.
and
So
I
you're
know.
a veteran of that course.
Well, I know the course, but I
Yeah.
also know how hard it is on the legs. It's just all concrete.
Well,
Boom,
sure.
boom, boom.
Well, and especially for your build.
I'd say I got, thunder and lightning here. That's not easy to carry around. But I knew that, hey, I got to catch this. I got to get to first place, create a little buffer, because I know everybody falls apart in the back half. Whether you're running 6-minute pace in the first half or 8-minute pace in the first half, it beats you down.
Well, that shock is just, absolutely.
So by the time I got to mile 5, I had, I think, a 2-minute lead on first place. I had already made up
In
2
5
minutes
miles?
in 5 miles. Yeah. So they were running 7:45 8-minute pace. I was running 6:30 to 6:45 pace. By the time I hit the 12, 13 mile mark, I had about an 8-minute lead on. But I didn't want to let up. I knew, hey, if I fall apart, if I stop for 1 second, they're going to make up time on me, and it could be gone in a flash, right? So I kept this edge that, the competition was keeping me pushing to that next level.
Yep.
So I wanted to quit. Believe me, my whole body was just saying, stop, stop. There's a little uphill going to this aid station at the top of a hill on the back half of the run, right? And you have a tailwind going down this section. So you think, oh, tailwind, that's nice. It wasn't nice because you get so hot. There's no cooling effect. You're on this hard concrete. The sun is beating down on you. And this was the lowest of low points in my race.
So you're like 2 in the afternoon.
Oh, it was brutal.
Yeah,
So we make this left-hand turn, go up to this aid station, and I take a couple sips of water, and I had to pee. And you know me, I never pee in races. I never do. It's just something that doesn't happen. And there's outhouses right there. So I said, okay, I got to pee. I'm going to take a little chance. There might be a chance I come out of the porta potty and I have nothing in my legs. My legs cramp up, they slow down, and I'm screwing my race. But let me take a chance. I got to go. Jared, I went in that porta potty like Clark Kent. I came out like Superman. My legs weren't hurting. My mind was fresh. I got back in the 7-minute pace. It was the most beneficial piss of my life. And that lasted probably 4 or 5 miles, and I, started to struggle again, kept moving forward. But I'm telling you, that brief hiatus in the porta potty,
it's the key to your success.
It was. I was a new man coming out of there, and so I just kept pushing. Luckily, I had a ton of support on course, and everybody was cheering me on, and it helped me get to the finish line and have a successful 9:08 finish, I believe it was. So
yeah, saw that. It's the thing I was the proudest of about you.
Yeah,
it wasn't your performance. It's how well your athletes did.
Oh,
I'm always impressed with how well you do, especially now in your career where your training is down to you're in razor thin margins of time with your kids, right? But I was looking at Peter. I think Peter got 2nd or 3rd in his age group.
Peter got 2nd in his age group. Yeah.
Anyway, all the athletes.
Anton got 4th. Megan got 1st.
Won her age group.
Won her age group.
And I was going, wow, this was a really good showing for you. It was really well done.
Yeah. Tanvir improved his run by a half hour. On his Ironman run by a half hour. He's in the 4-hour range. So no, I've been telling you,
never short on conversation. Yeah.
No, it definitely is not. But it's not. You're right. It's not about me. It's about the reason I'm out there doing it and I'm pushing that next level is because I know they're all doing the same, and that inspires me to go out there and do what I do. So
well, it felt good reading the results and thinking about you and how much time and effort you put into your athletes, and it was a good way to sort of celebrate it with the
results.
So
We had a blast out there. We all got these Eastern European like tracksuits, and we're all warming up on them in the morning.
I saw some,
and it made noise. Everybody's looking at that. They're saying, "What are those guys doing? Is that the Ukrainian gymnastics team?" I go, "No, it's Tower 26. We're warming up. They're $30 on Amazon. We're all wearing the same tracksuit, and it's going to be a theme going forward. We're going to get the Eastern European gymnast tracksuits, super tight. Anton's walking around. Anton, Russian guy. He's got his shirt tucked in. I mean, I don't know who's an old gymnastics coach from the 70s, one of these guys, Bela Korloff or whatever his name is. That was Anton walking around. It was hilarious. So we made a statement in that as well, and we came in 3rd in the tri-club division, and that's against some massive tri-clubs that have thousands of athletes. So we were 3rd overall.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. So that's enough about my experience, Jared. What did we talk about last episode on this?
Well, we did a potpourri of things again, right? I mean, we talked about athletes retiring.
There's a lot of stuff. That's if you want to know what we talked about, go listen to it. 139. What are we going to talk about this episode?
Well, I want to keep this Kona talk going a little bit.
Yeah,
because it's raising its head again with the qualifications for Kona. I want to talk a little bit about the T100 in Dubai.
Oh boy, what
weekend,
a mess!
Right?
Yeah, we woke up Saturday to all that news of what was going on in Dubai.
Yeah. We got our little camp in LA that I want to talk about with USA Triathlon starting today.
Yep.
Over the next few days.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun. We got
Olympic hopefuls.
Best of the best Olympic hopefuls in town and under your tutelage for the next 3 days.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And I want to touch on that because of the time of the year. So remind me when we get there. And then I want to review, the phase of the season that we're in and why it's critical that we do what we do right now and to encourage other athletes to. You don't have to do it with us, but this is the time of the season.
No, you got to do it with us. I think we need a membership drive because here's the thing, Jer. The entire time in this swim, and I'll tell you, I'll be the first to tell you, with my life right now, I don't get to the pool that often.
No, you don't.
But
you live in your backyard pool there.
I do a couple of swims on the tether. Yeah. I go to the pool occasionally, but I just don't have time to get there. The entire swim, I was thinking, okay, how taut is my body? How aligned is my body? How am I pulling through the water? So that tautness, alignment, propulsion. This is no BS. I'm not just saying this to just polish you up and make you feel good about yourself. I was just
keep going, please.
Yeah, I know you like this. You don't get enough of that at home. I was going through those 3 check-in points for 3,800 meters, whatever the Ironman swim is. I should know it by now. 4,000 meters, I was going through those check-in points. Every single stroke. How's my tautness? How's my alignment? How's my propulsion? And because I don't swim that much right now, I was still dialed into that. It got me to the finish with some good technique and feeling good getting out of the water.
And that's the key, right? How do you achieve your optimal performance in the swim? Remove your wetsuit in this case and feel fresh to your bike.
Exactly.
Ready to, there's been no damage done. Nothing's been extracted from me.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to have a bike run. This is a bike run race.
Right.
The swim was nothing. There was no tax on me whatsoever.
Right. So do you want to get right into that now, or you want to talk about Kona first? Where's your thoughts?
Let's hit the small items, and then we'll get into the bulk of it.
Yeah. So they redid the Kona qualifying. They announced this on Friday. Actually, I think it was Friday before. Yeah, I was driving out there and I got the email.
So let's back up. Why? Why are they redoing?
Well,
why are they redoing it again?
What they found out was they put this performance pool together. So all the first place age group winners were qualifying for Kona.
And this is for 2026,
2026.
Right? Okay.
And they're taking the performance pool, which brought all the athletes into one big pool. Mm-hmm. They took their age-weighted times. So every age group had a weighted time that took time off of their overall time, right? So somebody who's 70 to 75, they weighted their time, so it looked more like they could compete directly against someone 30 to 34.
They may have been 78% of their time, and somebody else would be 72%. And it'd actually go up in percentage as you come down in age group.
They took that age-graded time, and it was male-female. It wasn't broken down by gender. Okay. They took that age-graded time, they put it into one big bunch, and they graded it all 1 to 2,500, however many people in the race.
Okay.
And then they gave out the Kona slots they had 40 spots left. They gave out 40 spots to the top 40 people in that pool, right? So remove all the winners from the age groups. It's everybody else in that pool. It's age graded, right? From first to 2,500. And that could be the 70 to 74 person could be first place because his age graded time was faster than the actual person who went the fastest in the race. Am I making sense?
Yes, I'm getting it.
So what was happening after the first few Ironmans is no women were making it into that age-graded pool high enough.
So we're taking the gender thing even to another level.
Well, they weren't making it into the age-graded pool high enough to earn qualifying spots. So rarely 1 or 2 maybe were coming out of that age-graded pool. They
didn't have a separate age.
They did not. It wasn't for men and women. No, they just had it for men, and they had it for men and women.
So they're applying the same standard. The same percentage standard off the winner for women as they did for men?
Yes, exactly. So it wasn't off the winner. It was based on the age group graded times.
Correct.
That were previously figured out.
Right. So they took it from previous winning times of age groups in the past to come up with their differential, what the variance should be, right?
Yep, exactly.
But they didn't then split that male-female.
No.
Interesting.
So what was happening is the only women that were qualifying were the winners of the age groups. There was no other winners. There was no other women qualifying. But who was qualifying was a bunch of the older men. So the men 55 to 59 were getting like 10 spots they were qualifying for with their age-graded time. But the women, no women were getting any spots. So what we would see in Kona in October,
we're going to see a bunch of David Wise in Kona.
If it stayed this way, we would have the men 55 to 59, 700 guys, and the women 30 to 34, 40 women, however many Ironmans there were, just the winners of the age group. So what they announced on Friday was, okay, now we're going to split it, like you're saying. They're going to split it. We're going to say there's an age-graded pool for the men, there's an age-graded pool for the women. We're going to take the spots, 40 spots, right?
Hang on. I know you want to go through the whole thing, but I got to hit you piece at a time. Who came up with the criteria to not divide the genders initially? Do you have any idea who's on the committee?
The great odds. Let's just call it no idea who's on the committee.
I mean, all they've done is further divide the gender issue.
Yeah.
And you know my position on the gender issue.
Yeah,
I don't think you get to go to the World Championships just because you're a woman. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you know my position. Nor should you go because you're a man. It has nothing to do with gender. It has to do with
merit-based.
It's merit-based on performance. So now they came up with this criteria without without differentiating between female performance and male performance.
No, they did not.
Okay.
So now
that's a problem. So now what they're going to do?
They said we didn't think this through, right? So they admitted that they didn't. Scott DeRue sent out a note. He owned up to it. He said, hey, we didn't think it through. It's not turning out the way we wanted to turn out. So what we're going to do is we're going to now split the two performance pools. We're going to give out the spots.
That's fair.
Based on, now they're going kind of back to what they were doing previously. We're going to give out the space based on how many women, the percentage of women started the race, the percentage of men that started the race. We're going to divide the spots by that. And then that's what's going to go to the performance pool.
Okay, so that's a problem right there.
The women who started, the men who started?
Well, the problem comes, and let's not make it gender specific. So now we go to Ironman, pick an Ironman, anywhere, it doesn't matter. And I pick an age group. We haven't spoken about this before. Jim, give me an age group. Pick any age group.
30 to 34.
30 to 34 women, and let's make it 30 to 34 men.
Yeah.
30 to 34 men, 5 guys show up only, or 25 guys show up for that age group, but they're not high caliber.
Yeah.
Okay? In the 30 to 34, those winners are in the low to mid, at the worst, upper 8-hour range, right?
Yeah.
But the winner goes 9:30 or 9:45 or 10 hours. And it's an easy course.
Yeah.
It's a flat course.
Okay, gotcha.
Why should they go to the World Championship?
Why should the winner go to the World
Why should the winner go to the World Championship if they're going to be another 200 people in the world that are faster than that athlete?
Yeah.
Why should that guy get to go to the World Championship? Oh, because a soft age group showed up for that race.
Right.
It's not merit-based.
So you're saying it shouldn't be the winner. The winner shouldn't qualify.
The winner shouldn't have an automatic qualifying race.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it should be performance-based with a time stamped to it based on the course.
Right.
So you now have enough data on Ironman Arizona, which is going to be defunct from what you said, but you have enough data on Ironman Arizona, X number of years, 8 years, whatever it may, that race has been along for a long time.
Over 20 years, yeah.
So you've got 20 years of data. You know what you can set as a standard for that race for every single age group, male and female. And if you don't hit this particular time, that's specific to that course, that's an easier course, right?
Yeah.
All right? Okay.
Right.
That's an easier course. So you know the standard time for that course should be, example, in the 30 to 34 age group, if you can't go under 850, if the winner doesn't go under 850, you don't qualify for the World Championships.
That's a good point.
Otherwise, you're going to end up with a diluted feel, or you'll still have great athletes who've won other races going to Kona, but the guy who won in 9:52, in my example, he gets to go, but some guy that went 8:50 at another race on a harder course doesn't get to go because he placed 4th in his age group in that other. I mean, come on. If you really want merit-based performance, set time standards per course. You've got enough experience with courses, okay?
Yeah.
And bring in some of this other criteria. And then tell me about roll downs, because I want to hear about that.
Well, they split the genders for this one, right? They had 2 performance pools. They had after the winners got their spots, they had 14 spots left for the men and 4 spots left for the women. Right? So 14.
Back up one more time. 14
spots for the men and 4 spots for the women after all the age group winners got their spots. So that's 18 spots.
So all the free spots were given away because you
all
won.
the winners got the spots.
Okay.
And then they had 18 spots left to give.
Okay.
14 went to the men, 4 went to the women based on the amount of men, the percentage of men and percentage of women that started the race. Right? So figure out the percentages at home. I'm not going to do it right now, but it said because this many women started, you guys get 4. This many men started, you guys get 14. Right? So they gave out the women's roll down spots first. Jared, nobody took it. It rolled down, it rolled down, it rolled down to probably the 8th or 9th woman on the weighted list because the first 3 or 4 women didn't take the spots. So it kept rolling. The announcer was up there saying, "You want the spot?" "No, I don't want it." This one woman was in the merchandise tent, and we're waiting for her to come out, and they're like, "Oh, she doesn't want the spot." They waved her off. So it went down. Maybe it was 6 or 7, but the first few women didn't take the spots.
So now we're diluting even more.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a big kerfuffle, and at least the women that showed up to Arizona, the ones on the list, and whereas the men were sitting there just chomping the bit. I mean, Anton missed it by maybe 2 spots. He was like the 16th person on the list.
So one of my positions earlier that got me heat from internally within our organization from some women, right?
Yeah.
Was they felt that women should be able to go equal to men, the same number of spots. Okay.
Yep.
Has nothing to do with merit.
Right.
Okay. Ironman, and there's a greater desire, as shown in they want to go to Kona in this case, right? Mm-hmm. Women are saying, no, I don't need to go to Kona, or I don't need to do an Ironman in particular. Self-selected, I don't want to do this distance. You know my personal opinions on super endurance races anyway, right? How much time do you going to extract from your family? What's the real value of doing this? Yep. You got to go through the laundry list. And women have said, hey, I don't want to do this, okay? Mm-hmm. Should we force them to go? Should we put them on a bus and tie them and get them there? I mean, if you're self-selecting, I don't want to go, as in a roll down, I come back to my point on equality. We don't need equality. You don't need somebody out there that's taking 15 to 17 hours to just fill a slot. Make it quality-based. But if they're rolling down, what is the issue then?
Yeah, we were all looking at each other during the roll down. We couldn't believe it. We're saying, wow, it's like there was such a kerfuffle about splitting it and people not getting it, and then none of them are taking it. And then Peter's sitting there, he's like the 13th person on the list. Anton's sitting there, the 16th person on the list. Sean's sitting there, he's like the 20th person on the list. Guys would die to go. They work their tails off, and then it's rolling down the other side. Not saying that's the way it would be at every race, but it was just the first one. You see it, you think they'd be like, yeah, we're chomping the bit. I'll take it. And they're like, nah, I'm all right. I'll pass.
The challenges that lie that I can think of for Ironman or anyone trying to set up selection criteria is that there are challenges that occur within races on race day, such as the swim gets canceled, okay?
Yeah.
Or the swim gets shortened. And so if you set a time standard like I'm selecting, well, now you have a problem because the times. So
back to the drawing board.
You have to go back to the drawing board. But the point is, you have to really come up with very carefully thought out criteria, which it appears. I'm not an insider at Ironman, so I don't know. But the fact that now they're rolling through this for a 3rd time, this hasn't been thought out carefully enough.
Well, it just shows that you can't just half-ass it, right? All this stuff has to be really thought through because people care. The customer cares, right? You can't just say,
put a tattoo on their body, they care.
We're just going to do it this way and we'll see if it works out. You have to think about all the details. And this is going to bring us into our next talking point is, the T100 race in Dubai, right? Did you see what happened at the T100 race in Dubai?
I didn't see it live, but I certainly read about it after.
Well,
tell me what went on.
Well,
since you saw it.
I mean, I didn't see it. It was on the other side of the world, so we saw what happened when we woke up in the morning on Saturday morning or whatever it was. And it was just, I think they had 8 laps on the bike. Don't quote me on this, it's not exactly. I think 8 laps on the bike, 8 laps on the run, and there's the best of the best out there racing for some big money. And everyone was getting confused as to what lap they're on.
Could I set the stage also even a little bit perhaps better? Wasn't the race on Sunday?
Yes.
What occurred on Saturday in the T100?
I don't know.
The women's race.
Oh, right. Okay. Gotcha.
So they did it right in the women's race.
Yeah.
Something happened on Sunday.
Something happened.
We don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened.
Okay.
I'm not. But There were guys all over the place. Guys didn't know what laps they were on. There was guys doing extra laps. There was guys not doing enough laps. So what ended up happening was they said, okay, we're just going to cut the race. We're just going to take all the times at the end of the 7th lap, and then we're going to 7th lap on the run, and we're going to give that person the championship because we don't know what the hell was going on out there. And they gave it to Morgan Pearson as the winner. But this brings me to the point of that we were talking about with the Ironman is you got to pay attention to detail and foresee. I don't know, like you said, we don't know what happened between the women's and the men's race, but you have to foresee everything. And it's hard to foresee everything. But this, as your wife, a race director, you've been involved with the race. The first year we did the race, there was hiccups. We didn't foresee everything. The second year we built up that.
I put on over 50 events in my career.
Oh, and that's the thing.
And
go ahead.
No, there are things that happen. And this weekend, obviously, something happened that was unforeseen at T100.
Yeah.
And from what I read, the 2 or 3 top leaders of the bike, whether it's an electronic counter or a lap counter, was somewhat malfunctioned. It appeared to be, and then the entrance into the transition was closed off.
Oh, that's convenient.
The cones were still there. So you think you're on lap 8, as an example, the ending lap. You should be coming into transition, but the counter shows you on lap 7. So there's a mistake in the counter. But you're fairly confident. But then you see the cones coned off, so you can't go into the transition spots. You're forced to do another lap. You go, God, I'm exhausted. You know, when you're pressed to the limit, you know, little things can get away from you. So you say, okay, I must have another lap, and you keep going. So there was a mistake made, which of course will probably not be made again at T100 races.
Yeah.
And then the same thing even happened on the run. There was also a counting problem. So I'm sure some of the takeaway from this is, do you need 8 loops?
That's a lot of
loops. A little excessive,
loops,
right? Little excessive. I understand you want customer satisfaction watching the race, your audience watching, and having multiple loops is one way to do that, right?
Yep.
But make sure that when you do something well like that you have the backups in place in the sense of the simple things such as lap counters to be correctly stated, and the person who's supposed to remove the cones removes the cones. I mean, these are the little details, but mistakes happen.
Yeah.
And I read some of the commentary after, which I thought was interesting. 2 things, right? One was wonderful comments, by the way, from some of the pro athletes. Number 1, the real winner of this race, and I'm paraphrasing, is not Morgan Pearson, and they didn't say the name Morgan Pearson, but the real winner is Ironman, because this was so unprofessionally done that the winner of this is Ironman. We're going to go back to Ironman racing. Yeah. Another comment was, this is no longer the PTO, the Professional Triathlon Organization. This is just the TO, take out the professional. I mean, there were a lot of hits, okay?
Yeah.
And think if you're a pro and you have to sort of make a selection at the beginning of the season. Am I going to do Ironman racing or am I going to do the PTO circuit, right? And you do the PTO circuit and then you lose income on this last race. So they have some things to clean up. At the end of the day, Jim, we make mistakes. I think athletes need to be perhaps a little bit more forgiving. Race directors need to pull their pants up a bit and do a better job. But mistakes get made. Let's see how the PTO resolves it and helps athletes through this little problem. It's a hiccup. But none of us are perfect in life.
No.
And
well, you got to learn from it and you know, better yourself the next time. But like I said, there's unforeseen things pop up, and you know, someone forgets to move the cones. That's a big issue. A little thing turns into a big issue, and then it kind of just spirals downhill from there. And it's hard to get your wits back about you when one little thing like that goes wrong and screws up the whole race. How do you think on your feet to correct things?
And as a race director, when something spirals like that, I can tell you, having experienced this in probably it was the first major event I ever put on. I put on a number of small events, but this was the first major event I did. And there was a registration problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I did not anticipate. In you know me, I'm a guy that tries to think through all the what ifs, right?
Oh yeah, to the 10th degree, buddy.
Here's one of the what ifs.
Guy.
I know. Here's one of the what ifs I didn't think of. What if the registrar, who back then we didn't have computers, okay? This is how archaic this goes back.
Pen and paper.
It was done pretty much manually. I didn't consider if the person handling registration showed up late. What if they showed up late and registration takes too long and you can't start the event on time? And that's what happened.
And everything's on that time, right?
And I saw this long, long line, and I'm a guy about customer service, as you know. I remember going beneath the stage where nobody could see me. I put my hand in my head, and I'm buried down, and I'm not crying, but I'm like, I planned for months for this, and I didn't think of this.
Yep.
And then here's the guy
sauntering in. No big deal. We'll get it done, whatever.
But it has this ripple effect. So stuff happens, and you plan for it the next time, and I want to give PTO a pass on this one.
Yep.
And encourage athletes to give them another chance, and we make mistakes, and they didn't show up on race day saying, I'm going to screw up your race, okay? That's not the intent that they started the race with.
Yep. Well, it's one thing goes wrong, moves to another, learn from it, move on. It's a professional organization. I'm sure they'll rally and put on the next event is going to be better than ever. So let's get into the technique, though. The tap, baby. Tautness, alignment, propulsion. Like I said, it was running through my mind all day on race day. There wasn't one stroke I took off. Go to coaching.tower26.com to join in on our tap phase of the year. And this is our membership drive right now, like they do on NPR. Every 2 seconds they go in and say, hey, join our membership drive. Donate today. We'll give you this. We'll give you that. We're not going to give you anything but knowledge, information, and better swimming. Go to coaching.tower26.com. to join in on all the workouts that we're doing. But, Jared, where are we going to start off with this?
Well, we're in the Tower 26 methodology of the time of the season where if a coach believes, and this coach does, that's how we run our organization, with the sport of triathlon has evolved significantly over the 4 decades it's been going. We're into the 5th decade. And in the beginning, and I've been there from fairly early 80s, when we had just 2 or 3 months of racing. Now we have 12 months. It's a full calendar year of races everywhere. And in this sport, there needs to be, in this coach's opinion, especially because it's an endurance sport, and super profile events are at a minimum Olympic distance races, right? So that's a minimum if you're at the pointy end, a 2-hour race, hour 45 for men, close to 2 hours for women, hour 55. And that's pointy end. For age groupers, 2.5, 3 hours, 3.5 hours for Olympic distance races. And then you go all the way half Ironman races. We're into anywhere from 4 to 17 hours, right?
Got a long time out
there.
So
it's a long time of racing, which requires a high demands on training. I think at some point your season needs to be truncated. You put a hard stop in where it's time to have recovery in. If you want duration in the sport, if you want success with family, success with career, if you want balance, it would be the easiest way to see it, right? So for us, we build in a hard stop, and then we go through a period of about 10 weeks of recovery. But it's not just everything is easy. The recovery is about the technical aspects. It's the time to work on the mechanics of improving swimming.
That's exactly what you're saying, though. It's not like you're just saying, okay, take 10 weeks off, go take a nap and go to Bermuda for 4 weeks. Like, we're still training because this is what we do, right? This is our lifestyle. It keeps us energized all day. It's an outlet from all the rest of the stresses in our life, but it's just a step back and a time when we can focus a little more on how we're moving, how we're applying all the energy into our swimming, biking, running. So we're not saying don't go train. We're saying let's do it in a different way, back it off, peel the onion, and get to the root of how we can be better in 2026.
And also, not literally, you don't have to do a race in that period of time. There are events that our athletes are doing, or you raced yesterday. 2 days ago, we have the Indian Wells coming up. There are a number of races coming up that athletes are going to do, but we don't change our overview of how we run the season, okay? We're in the recovery phase, and we have a heavy emphasis on technique. So we go through approximately 9 weeks of this, 3-week cycles of each category of how we break down the technical aspects of swimming. 3 things: tautness, alignment, and propulsion. TAP, T-A-P, right? Tautness, alignment, and propulsion. And so let's do a little highlight without peeling all the way into each one. And we're now wrapping up tautness. We're in the last week and a half, and then we'll go into alignment. And it doesn't mean once you go through tautness that once you get to alignment, you don't work on tautness. In fact, you spend several weeks on tautness and you go into alignment and you have to do all the things from tautness over again while layering on top alignment And then 3 weeks later, in the 7th week, 8th week, 8 through 10, you go through propulsion. So think of a pyramid, base, pointy top, right? Equilateral triangle, am I right?
I think
Equal
that's the
three
right,
sides,
yep.
is that what we learned way back when? And you take that, and you just draw a line, and the bottom portion of that triangle, that's your base. It's your flat part that supports the piece on top, that supports the pointy piece on the top again. That base is tautness.
Yep.
The middle piece is alignment, and the top piece that everybody wants to work on. Jim, when you get asked questions in swimming about improvement, aren't most of the questions related to propulsion? Things that I can do
look
to
at all the drills. Look at all the drills out there on YouTube. Everything's related to propulsion.
Right.
Everything.
Propulsion is the tip. It's the top of the little piece at the top. The piece below that is alignment, and the big fat piece at the bottom is tautness. Without tautness in place, you can't have great propulsion. Can't. Not possible.
Nope.
Okay? Yeah. Could you imagine trying to, and it doesn't matter the sport, but it's the most in swimming.
Let me tell you something. Let me relate this to submarine shooting a torpedo, right? If a torpedo were a jellyfish, you could shoot that thing with all the firepower in the world. It shoots into the water, ain't gonna go nowhere. That's got to be a hard, straight piece of metal to fire through that water. So you add the propulsion last. You get the strength of the steel, you get it nice and straight to cut through the water, and then you add the propulsion and it shoots through.
I
If you
so
don't
love
have that.
And I didn't bring my prop, and it's in my car. I forgot to bring it out. I have a little torpedo.
Oh, look at that.
A kid's torpedo. It's
Same
about
page.
this long, and it's firm, and you've played with those with your kids. I'm sure you have it in your backyard there.
Yeah.
Those things they are beyond taut. Okay, they are built they're firm.
Yep.
Now, we can't go to that high tension in tautness because, well, we do go to it in super short races. In the 50 freestyle men and women at the Olympic Games, their structure is very tight when they're racing, okay? But it's unsustainable. So there needs to be tension and structure to how you hold your body. But it can't be tight, but it can't be soggy. Okay? It has to have enough structural tension, integrity to it to hold the body properly so you can then use the levers, the arms and the legs to deliver your propulsion. So we spend the first 3 weeks all working on body structure, how you hold your body. And we go through a series of exercises in progression to how you do that. And it starts with kicking, believe it or not, because kicking is what most triathletes don't do well.
Yep.
Nor do they really need to, by the way. Okay? But they don't do it well, but the kicking damages the upper body. Okay? The legs go haywire, sends a vibration up the body, and the body starts wiggling around too much. So we have to teach how to hold your legs well. You don't need propulsion from them, okay? Elite level, it's different. Going to the Olympic Games, different. Propulsion helps in the kick somewhat, but it's still not that much.
You just got to hold them so they get them out of the way, right?
Hold them together, hold them high at the surface, keep them taut, not tight, taut, keep them together. Don't have them spread out. Don't create amplitude with them. So you have breath and you have amplitude. You don't want any of that. And you need an awareness always of where your legs are at. Now, wetsuits help take care of that to some extent, okay? But what happens to non-wetsuit races, right?
You say that the wetsuits help take care of it, but also if you don't have that tautness with a wetsuit on, you're like a semi in the ice. You're just moving, your back end's just moving all over the place. So yeah, wetsuits do take care of that to a degree from a flotation standpoint, but from a slippery back end standpoint, you got to keep the tautness while you have the wetsuit on. And if you don't, you're just creating more drag for yourself.
So we go through a progression from kicking with a snorkel and fins and a kickboard there to hold on to for stabilization. And then we progress to kicking without the kickboard. Then we progress to taking the fins off.
Right, and we have all these progressions at coaching.tower26.com. You can see them all there, but there is a progression. It's not just go kick with a kickboard. It's very detailed as to how we execute these.
And then what to think about within each of those in particular as you go through them. And then we go through kicking on your back. The thing is, you need to have an awareness of what your body feels like in the water. Most of us who did not swim competitively have low proprioceptiveness. Is that a word?
Dude,
let's make
word.
it.
Hey,
Let's
if
make
you
it
say
a word.
it's a word, it's a word,
It's a
buddy.
word.
It's our show.
Low proprioception in the water. On land, we know we're both sitting sort of the same way, arms on the chair folded in a bit. But if I wanted to say, hey, how you doing? Put my arm over here. I know how to do that spatially. I've been practicing it. I know where my lever is. I know how to come across to you. But in water, we don't. Okay? You're suspended. 95%-ish of your body weight is displaced. You don't really have a feeling of how to use your limbs or what it feels like in the water. This is what swimmers call the feel for the water, okay? And they talk about times when they didn't have good feel for the water, and it's because a number of reasons cause that. But for people who don't have a significant swim background, which is our majority of athletes in the sport of triathlon, you have to develop an awareness of your entire body in the water. What are your legs doing? What are they doing independent of your torso? Independent of your arms? Could you talk to each of those, all of those muscles and make them do what you want them to do in the water? You can on land, but most of us can't do it in the water really well. Don't have that proprioceptiveness. So we build in all these drills, starting with kicking, and then you do it on your back, so you can have that awareness. And then we go to the difficult one, vertical kicking.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because that's where the body is sitting in the water, and you got to keep the whole entire torso stationary. And the tendency would be, watching here on YouTube, the tendency would be to bend at the waist forward or to put the head backwards. And then there's all these things you're trying to do to balance the body, which I understand why it's being done. But the real reason why it's being done is because you don't have a good awareness of how to hold your body yet. So you have to practice it. So we're teaching, going through these first several weeks in the tautness phase, how to structurally hold the body, torso and legs and head, in a position so it sits at the surface, taut and long, 3 touch points, back of your head, your ass, and your heels connected to the surface. Because the premise, the foundation for swimming well is overcoming resistance. At the end of the day, that is the foundation for swimming well.
Hydrodynamic. Right?
Hydrodynamic. Right? So you build a base. And you know what's the first thing that happens, Jim, when you get fatigued? In any sport, it's easy in any sport to just sort of just slouch because you lose structural integrity.
Oh, did you see Peter finishing the Ironman on Sunday? I mean,
No.
strongest dude out there. He lost that structural integrity. He's running like David White at the finish line at Lake Placid. He lost that tautness, right? It's like something failed. His hip flexor failed, and he lost it. And that's what we're trying to overcome here is teach that proprioception to hold your body no matter what part of the swim that you're in.
And in swimming, it's the easiest to lose structure. You know why? Because your weight is displaced.
Yeah.
So it's easier just to go totally soft because you're not going to fall to the ground. You're suspended in the water, okay? And especially if you have a wetsuit on. It's even worse. So we have to really, really learn to be in touch with all the muscles and how to hold that body tautly, firm. Think of a pencil. A pencil has great structural integrity, but you can break it pretty easily, right? You just hold it and snap it, okay? Yeah. It's not iron, okay? It's the fiber that it's made of, the components that make up the pencil. It's breakable, but it is taut. We want a taut body, connected to the surface, head, butt, and heels all the time, long, narrow, and sleek.
And we keep working on this throughout the year. You know, it's something we just do at this point of the season. We keep revisiting this because it's so crucial to successful swimming.
So that's tautness. And then we actually touch up at the very end of tautness where we have athletes stand on the pool deck and you have to pair up with a partner and close your eyes. And then we do some exercises where we push people around at the shoulders and the hips and the back and so on. So you learn to structurally hold yourself properly without toppling over. And the reason we close your eyes is we don't want you to know when you're going to be pushed.
Yep.
Okay? But you can't stand there stiff trying to resist it. You have to stand there with good structural integrity and be ready to be pushed. Right? And then we transfer that to the water, where you go into the water, you put your snorkel on, you hold onto the lane line or the wall softly, lengthen out, and then somebody comes and does these little pushes of your shoulders and your hips and your back and your stomach and your ankles and knees and so on. And your job is you got to make sure that you stay straight and you don't get flopped around.
Right.
Remember, pool swimming, it's easy to stay straight. Easier. Why? You got nice juicy lane lines. It's the same density, same, everything's measured. It's perfect. Perfect temperature, perfect conditions. Open water, it's 100% dynamic. None of that occurs.
Yeah, and that's that's what we experienced on Sunday. Going out, the current there was no current. It was kind of flat, but then coming back, you had a headwind, and the chop was up, and it wanted to have its way with you. It wanted to push your body around. But I found the longer I stayed, the nice taut alignment, the nice tautness I had as I pulled with that good alignment, I could cut through that chop that was created. I mean, everybody slowed down on the way back, but you didn't let the water have its way with you. You kept that good tautness, and you cut right through it.
Yep.
So then we're getting to the end of the tautness phase now. We're going to keep revisiting that. So if you haven't jumped in yet, coaching.tower26.com. Remember, this is a pledge drive. Coaching.tower26.com. We're going in the alignment phase, but we're going to keep revisiting that tautness. So don't think you haven't joined yet. I missed out on all of it. We're going to keep with that, but then we get into alignment.
An alignment, so that's, you think of your pyramid here again. Alignment is the middle block. So if you drew two lines in a triangle, big fat triangle, one line and then another line. The line at the top is propulsion. The big fat line in the middle is alignment, and the base that we just talked about would be tautness, right? Alignment's where the majority of errors occur in swimming. The majority of errors. But those errors also occur because you haven't nailed down tautness. It's one reason.
Yeah.
And then especially when you get to propulsion, if you don't have tautness nailed down, almost all your propulsive errors are related to tautness. But in alignment, we break it down into three things. Three pretty simple things under alignment. Head position that you need to have, right? Number two, keeping your arms in the channel where you enter out front between your center line of your body and your shoulder line. The hand enters anywhere here. And then beneath the surface, it has to stay within that channel. Right arm, in this case, since I'm using a right example, the right hand has to stay within a specific channel. You don't stay within that channel, as I say all the time, stuff happens, and it's never good stuff.
You see the legs splaying, you see the hips falling out of whack. It's all due to those arms and head not staying straight, and hands not staying in the channel.
This misalignment occurs, and you see all the time someone may be trying to favorably help somebody improve, right? To your point, you were saying splayed legs, right? That's a perfect example. The legs splay out, and the coach or the enthusiastic helper tells the user, the athlete, hey, don't spread your legs so much.
Yeah.
Well,
oh, gee, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. No.
And the person tries to not do them, understandably, but the person saying don't splay your legs, you're talking about a symptom. You can't fix a symptom. You have to find the cause of the symptom
and then get to the root.
And get to the root of it. And the root of it, to your point, I'm glad you brought this up. You're leading me down. Is part 3, rotation. Okay, so there's head movement, arms in the right channel, and then rotation on part 3. If you over-rotate in swimming, or you're a late breather, or you're a late breather, your legs are going to splay. Because you sit out, you turn a whole bunch, the body gets out of balance, and the legs spread out, just as if you're on your bike, and you start toppling over to one side, you unclip right away, or you stick your leg out for counterweight, right?
Yeah, it's just a natural reaction to catch yourself. You feel like you're tipping over.
Yep. And you sink just 1 inch in the pool, your internal system's going, okay, I'm toppling over, and you spread the legs. Have to. Or you're late.
Well, if I pushed you from behind and you didn't know I was coming, what would you do? You'd put your arms out to catch yourself.
Yes.
It's the same thing with your legs. If you feel you're falling over, your leg's just going to kick out to catch yourself. Your body doesn't know if you're in the water or if you're falling off a skyscraper. It's just there saying, hey, this is my reaction. I got to catch myself with something, so that leg kicks out.
So we have to always treat the symptom by finding the cause, not saying just keep your legs closer together. They can't do it unless they fix the cause. And one of the causes can be, as an example, over-rotation. Another cause is, starting with the first thing we talked about under alignment, head position. We have a mantra: no lifting, no tilting, no tucking. We don't lift, and the worst is you don't tilt. You don't move the head off the spine line. The moment you tilt, the body's going to go into, you're going to have flexed outward, that's a convex, or flex inward, that's concave, right? We're going to go out and in, and out and in.
Right. You're losing that torpedo shape.
Totally.
You're a banana. All of a sudden, you're a banana.
You're a banana.
Well, we were in Mexico, and I wore a banana hammock, by the way, just so you know. My wife loved it. I showed up in this European banana hammock. That was an aside. I call that an aside, Jer. Got to keep the thing spicy here. We're talking a lot of technique. I got to keep things spicy. But yeah, you turn into a banana. You want to be that torpedo. If you feel yourself banana shape, get to the root of what's going on. I like that. No lifting, tilting, or tucking the head.
No lifting, no tilting, no tucking.
Hand stays in the channel.
Yep.
Don't over-rotate.
And don't over-rotate.
That's your alignment.
We do a number of drills, progressive drills within each of those.
And if you want to do those drills, go to coaching.tower26.com and subscribe to the subscription plan. You can do those. The pledge drive. This is NPR pledge drive. This is Tower 26 pledge drive right now. Coaching.tower26.com will lead you through those drills, and you're joining at the right time.
You know me, I'm just the teacher.
Alignment. So then we get through alignment, 3 weeks of alignment, we get on the propulsion. This is the sexy part. This is what everybody wants to hear about. This is what Juan Pablo needs to hear. Juan Pablo, tune in right now.
Big fat base, tautness, right on top, bulk of the errors, and then we finally get to the tip of the spear. Propulsion, which is where everybody comes in, and those are the common questions. But unless you have tautness in place and alignment in place, propulsion, Jim, means nothing.
Yep.
How much force you can put out and how hard you can push and pull the water.
I can think of several extremely strong athletes right now have no tautness, no alignment. They have crazy propulsion, and they still go nowhere.
They have crazy strength and power, and even directionally, they might be pushing water in the right direction, but they're not generating anything because their tautness is messed up, their alignment is this way, and you have the density of water. It's your resistance factor, right? Unless you nail down tautness and alignment, that's why the 6-year-old girl and 6-year-old boy can outswim most.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that this weekend. There's a 6-year-old girl just swimming 1 minute per 100 pace up north, and just a tiny, weak, maybe it was 110 per 100 pace, just tiny, no muscle, but knew how to touch that water. Future Olympian.
Absolutely amazing.
No, they're coming into the Tower 26 subscription plan at coaching.tower26.com. I'm getting that 6-year-old girl on there.
So we break the final piece, propulsion, into 3 categories again. Setup, commonly called the catch. Okay, it's a word I don't particularly care for. I want the athlete to think about the setup of the stroke. What do you do in the first third of the stroke? Because that's what's getting you ready to be able to generate forward movement.
You're not generating anything in the setup.
No
generation of force, Juan Pablo.
In fact, if you're actually moving forward in the setup, you're doing something wrong.
You're Juan Pablo. That's what I'm saying. We have a guy that swims with us. That's what I'm referring to. Juan Pablo. His name's Juan, but I call him Juan Pablo. The least favorite bachelor of all time's name was Juan Pablo. So Juan was pissing me off at a workout one time, and I just said, "You're Juan Pablo because you are not my favorite swimmer right now." But every time we go into propulsion phase, Juan Pablo adds force to the setup, and he pops up, right? So you put your hand in that front to rear facing position. You don't put any force in, right? You just put it there.
Get yourself set up in the right, and we go through the detail of how to do that, and this podcast here today is sort of highlight, right? The high-level discussion rather than detail. But the point is,
go to coaching.tower26.com and get the detail.
The fact is, the first segment is all about the setup. The next segment, let's call it the middle. Oh, it's not the middle. Yeah, it would be if you have 3 segments. The middle segment, the big fat portion in the middle, is about the position that the arm needs to be in after the setup. Okay. The position where the hand needs to be, where the elbow needs to be relative to the wrist, all the details as to the setup, and then finally it's directional force. The direction that you're pushing water. Keep it really simple. Push it straight back. Don't complicate it.
Moving water front to back.
Are there lateral movements in swimming? They can be, but we don't need to split hairs in the 1/10 of, in the 1%ers or the half or 1%ers. For triathletes, you don't need this. You're not going to the Olympic Games in swimming, okay? You're trying to be a good enough swimmer that you don't create damage to yourself in your bike and run, and you don't give up time to your competitors, right?
Right. Master the bullseye, moving water front to back.
Oh, I like that. Master the bullseye.
Saying.
That's a good one. So nail down the basic setup, proper positioning of arm, and then accelerated force, and the arm has to move through the water at an accelerated rate. Directionally accelerated rate.
There you go.
Directionally proper. You need to know what that direction is, and it accelerates, as opposed to many times we see, if you just go to any swimming pool gym, you look on the water at an athlete, mainly you see easier non-athletes, people who are lap swimmers, There's no acceleration in their hand. It enters the water and it goes through at the same exact pace. Slow, 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 and slow. As opposed to come in, set up, and then as it goes, it gets faster and faster, and the arm moves quicker and quicker. The hand and the arm moves quicker and quicker as it goes through. That's what needs to happen. But it's not done. So we need to have accelerated
you're letting
force.
the water have its way with your arm as opposed to you having your way with the water. I thought I heard a good, I forget who said it, I heard a good parallel analogy, whatever the hell the word is for it. But they said, think about yourself picking up, scooping your hand through concrete, right? If you're scooping through concrete, you start here with wet concrete. You start here with a little wet concrete, but as your hand comes through, you not only have what you started with, but you're amassing more concrete as you pull your hand through the water, right? So it's adding. If you keep the same velocity with your hand, as you add more concrete,
get stuck.
It's going to slow down to stop. It's the same thing with water. Water's not as heavy as concrete, but as you plant your hand into that setup and then accelerate through, you're adding water and mass to that catch, to that pull through. So if you don't accelerate your hand through, the water's having its way with your hand and slowing it down because you're adding mass as you come through the water. So you got to accelerate that hand through.
And another reason, to your point of acceleration, is remember for open triathletes, triathletes are open water swimmers. I don't know what the percentage is. We're in the 90-something% of events are in open water, right? They're not in swimming pools. You have a heavily dynamic environment, which means you have water pushing you around and pushing underwater too. You cannot have this slow, gentle, you know what I like to call it, petting the kitty.
Yeah, we
right?
don't pet the
type
kitty,
of tension beneath the surface.
I'm allergic to cats.
Otherwise, you're going to get pushed around a lot. Yeah.
So, tautness, alignment, propulsion, we go through it. When is the end of the technique phase? I know we already said it's about 9 weeks? 10 weeks. Yep. When do we end that? About the end of January?
We end that typically around mid-January, and we start what most athletes would call their season.
Right.
We start our training phase, our base phase, our endurance phase, we call it foundation phase. Coaches have different capacity building, aerobic phase, whatever name you want to give it.
Right.
It's our.
But no matter what, we're always tapping into the tap. We're always. Oh, how do you like that? I just said it. Just came out. Tapping in the tap. Tautness, alignment, propulsion. So join now. Get on board. So then as we progress into the foundation, you're set for it. And everything we do tap related in the foundation phase is just revisiting and getting it more built into your proprioception, your muscle memory. So anything else on that, Chair?
Swimming is a complicated sport, activity. You just need to understand the big boulders. There's a lot of detail, okay? We can talk probably about 100 things you need to do better in swimming. Nail down these three boulders, and within each boulder, you've got sort of 3 subcategories. You have about 9 things to go through as opposed to 100. And there are a lot of questions. Should my fingers be together? Should they be,
Yeah.
Those are the 1%ers.
Nail the bullseye.
Nail the big boulders first.
Yep.
And then you could put the sand in after.
I love that. Hit the boulders and then the sand. I love it. All right, Jared. Well, good stuff. Coaching.tower26.com. Do you want to do a workout of the episode? Are we ready for that?
Yeah. Do we have time?
I think we have time. We can roll over it real quick. I forgot to check if your iPad's working on here. So if it's not working, then we don't have time.
Hope it's working.
Let's make sure we are set up for the iPad here. Properties. I totally forgot to do this. Let me make sure that we're good. And what are you doing with the workout of the episode?
While you're setting that up, in fact, this workout that we did today that we'll show in a few minutes while you get that set up, I'm going to use this exact session for our athletes that we're going to be working with, Jim, that you're coming to help over the next few days. We're going to use one of this session here under the tautness component. We're working with Tower 26 is working with our national team, our Olympic hopefuls, regarding the swim. And we're meeting for 3 days in El Segundo. Yeah. And then, in fact, we're going to the Olympic venue in Venice.
Oh, wow. So you're going to swim out there.
See the course. We're not going to swim because of the rains that we have. I don't think that's going to be healthy at all this time.
I don't think that would probably be prudent.
But we'll take the athletes to the course and get a flavor and a feel for what it's about, right? Mm-hmm. But we're going to go through exactly this particular workout. We're going to deliver this tomorrow.
So what's the workout? Can you start it and see? I'm going to see if I can work this thing out. And something's
well, again, simple basic stuff, Jim. Warm up, first segment is, as we talked about earlier, kicking. We go through about a 8-minute continuous distance where you're using all of your equipment, a kickboard, fins, and snorkel, and we are alternating 50 kick, 50 swim, 2 lengths kick, 2 lengths swim. Again, purpose, the kicking segment, it's about stabilizing the upper body and making sure that your head, butt, and heels are at the surface. Pretty easy to do with fins on and a snorkel in place. And then you swim a 50. Make sure that head, butt, and heels are at the surface for the 50 swim. Then we come back and you rinse and repeat for whatever your allocated distance is. And then we took the fins off after that, and we did the same kick swim, but shorter distances now, because with fins, athletes can go much longer distances and actually hold proper mechanics. Once you take fins off, there's a depreciation. So we want to coax along improvement. We don't need to show athletes that we can beat them up in a workout, right?
Yeah.
So we shorten the distance now. It's just 50s, and it was 25 kick, 25 swim, but you have no fins on this time. You have your snorkel on, arms are stretched out, going through all the touch points, head, butt, and heels. And then when you swim, you got to make sure that you stick to that criteria of head, butt, and heels. In fact, we had to stop our athletes and redo this segment because some, after we transitioned out from fins to no fins, some weren't doing it well, and I want it to be done well.
Yeah.
So what did we do? Halfway through the length, have them close their eyes. 2 or 3 seconds.
Smart. Yeah.
Why? Shut that sense down. Turn on the others. Ears, so you can hear you're kicking. Make sure your heels are at the surface and feel. You can feel what your body's doing.
Well, like you said, though, is you take the fins off and you have no fins, all of a sudden some athletes, especially triathletes, go nowhere, so they think they have to compensate and move different to accommodate for not moving in the kick. So they do something different. We don't care how fast you're going in your kick. No. As long as you're keeping that good tautness, keeping those legs out of the way and doing exactly what we're telling you to do to work on that tautness. I don't care how fast you're going with your kick. It doesn't mean that. We're working on how you're holding your body.
Just think of a box behind your feet, and the box is not much wider than your ankles, so your legs can't have much volume of breath to them, and then the amplitude is also narrow, and the feet have to stay within that box. They can't go outside of it. The parameters of that box. The moment you go outside of it, you're taking up more spatial volume, right?
Yeah.
And slowing yourself down. So we went this progression then without the fins, and everyone nailed that. And when I say everyone, I mean 100%. And these are not professional athletes. We have a number of athletes that just began. This is their introduction into the sport. They're swimming.
That's how you want to do it. Start on the right foot.
Over 2 minutes per 100.
The right kick.
And then we went into some vertical kicking, which is the tough segment, right? Hands out of the water. They need to be in line with your shoulders. It can't be in front.
So your head, you're like a cork, right? Your head's out of the water.
Yep, straight body, like this. And we can't be bent over. I'm trying to hold my hand against a dark object, which is my shirt here. Can't be bent. And this is the tendency to bend or to bend the other way, to go off. Got to keep a dead straight line, as if somebody's holding you in the top of your head and pulling you up and then holding your toes at the bottom, and you're just keeping you nice and long. We weren't able to get a video.
No, I don't know what's going on with the iPad. I would skip it for now.
I would have shown Greg doing this. And then we went into some... Then once that got nailed down, the next segment of the work, I remember, this is all about progressing. Once you nail something, you go to the next segment. You nail that down, you go to the next segment. So then we went to a main set. So once everyone nailed those components, we go to a main set and we put the components into the main set, which is we apply some stress. Stress means load, right?
Yep.
Load can come in various forms. Duration, and we talked about this in the last episode. Intensity, and or rest. A depreciation, a reduction of rest also creates a form of load. So we did a longer swim, about 5-ish minutes, but we kept the intensity low. You have to nail head, butt, and heels at the surface. And then we went into a series gym of about 1.5 minute reps. So for some athletes, it was a 75. Others, it was a 100. You're better athletes. For some athletes, it was just a 50, something that takes about 1.5 minutes to do. No equipment, except for the first segment. We went 50 kick, 50 swim. If you were going 100s, 50 kick, 25 swim. If you were going 75, some athletes just went 25 kick, 50 swim. But the point is, it was kick swim. You don't have any fins, but you had your snorkel on. You got to use your snorkel because you're going to be kicking with your arms extended, palms flat facing the bottom of the pool, biceps touching your ears, head, butt, and heels at the surface. Kick it, nail it down, and then swim, keeping those 3 touch points.
And that's where you have your BB gun on the surface. If somebody blows that taut,
oh,
shoot right now.
It was my loud voice yelling at folks, because you got to yell louder. And it's one of the reputations that coaches get for some coaches for being yellers, thinking, well, you're what's the word today you used? You're abusing children, abusing kids.
Yeah,
well,
you took that safe sport, didn't you? You're not allowed to yell.
Here's the deal: water is different. Water, there's so much noise that's going on. An athlete, they can't hear you. The only way you have to yell, meaning you have to have a loud voice so you can be heard. So I'd call them out. We'd stop. We'd redo. But once we nailed it, okay. So the first one was easy. Then the second one, we laid on some intensity. And the third rep, we went faster again. And by the fourth rep, we're going at a high intensity, 85%, 90%-ish. And again, when you put load on, all you're trying to make sure is that as you add load, you don't break the foundation.
Right.
If the foundation gets broken, you haven't been doing it properly.
Back it down and do it again.
Exactly.
That's what happens in good coaching.
Bracket
it down, you read it, bracket it, and
we do it again. Another cycle through. So that was the workout.
Reiterating
it builds on itself, each segment, going through the different components of tautness.
Now, if I wanted to follow along with that workout, where would I find it?
Here's
coaching.tower26.com. Go and get that workout. All the workouts we do, follow this progression. You could join at any time, and they're all scaled to your specific ability level. So Jerry, the 1 minute per 100 swimmer, isn't going to be doing the same distance and the same volume as the 2:30, 3 minute per 100 swimmer.
That was a long time ago. But thank you for bringing that up.
You can still do that. But okay, Jerry, we got a comment from YouTube. BJ3030 said, "Great to see you two live. Congrats, Jim, on the win at Ironman Arizona. Amazing day. Thanks for reaching out, BJ. It's nice to see you live too, because we are live on YouTube." We got another question from on Jim at tower26.com. They emailed me. Would you mind? We have time to answer one question.
Of course,
Jerry. It was related to sighting and when you're in the pool sighting and you're working on your sighting, and I'll get the exact question in a second, but let you start to mull it over. When you're in the pool sighting, working on that sighting, what type of, here's the question. If someone swims 400 meters in the pool, sighting at 130 per 100 meters, what is an acceptable loss of speed if they sight every 6 strokes? They'll swim slower, that's for sure, but at what point? 132, 135, 140? How much are they losing when they add the sighting in? Does the slowdown indicate ineffective sighting technique? It would be great if you could elaborate on this during a future episode. Obviously, we're elaborating this episode. Maybe you already answered in a previous episode, but I need to listen to all of them. I also put a resource together, a compilation of pro swim technique in races. I try to note the strokes per minute and other info. So he put the YouTube there. I can put the YouTube link in there. But what he's asking, Simon Chauvin from Europe is asking, what kind of depreciation are you seeing when you add sighting into your swimming?
Hey, Simon, great question, and thanks for that question. The answer that I'm going to give you is not the answer you want to hear.
Oh, no. Simon, he's from Europe. Those guys don't mess around. They always want to hear the right answer.
The answer is 0.
Oh, boy.
They should not be. If you're really good at your job and you've built in great sighting skills, your depreciation is going to be very darn close to 0. Now, there's a difference between, because if you take the question literally, in a pool, you have perfect conditions. You have lane lines, the exact same length. You have static environment. Okay?
Right.
When you get into open water, so in the pool, you will have a slight depreciation. But in open water, the depreciation should be close to 0, because in a dynamic environment, you need to have silky sighting so you can actually swim straight.
Well, that's right, because Simon put together this compilation. I looked at it. It's pretty good. I'll put it in the show notes. So appreciate you sharing that. It's just a bunch of pros swimming, how they're swimming, their sighting. And, I think there's one of Lucy Charles in there in Kona a few years back. She's swimming, 110 per 100 meters?
Yeah,
one after another, after another, after another. I mean, that's probably what she's going to swim if she went and swam 4,000 in the pool. Pretty close. So, silky smooth. You don't even really realize when they're sighting because it's so built into the stroke.
Lucy Charles does a good job at this. Go look at the Brownlee brothers from back when they were in their racing heyday in the 2010-ish through 2020-ish, that decade that they were sort of ruling the sport. These two guys, Alistair and Jonathan, right? Apparently.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
that was fun.
You talk about ugly swim strokes. Oh, it's pretty ugly. But man, is their sighting effective.
Yep.
And
gold medalist.
And that's all you need. So, Simon, sighting needs to be built into your swim stroke where it becomes so fluid and so easy that if you went to swimming without sighting, it would feel awkward.
Man, it's true.
I mean,
it's true. There's actually a video. I think it's Jonathan Brownlee, and I think he's sighting every single stroke. And I think he's swimming this. It's an Olympic distance race. He's probably swimming sub 1 minute per 100 pace for this race, and every stroke he's sighting. So great question. Thank you, Jim at tower26.com, Jerry Gery at tower26.com. But if I haven't mentioned yet, go to coaching.tower26.com and subscribe to our subscription plan. Or if you're local in the LA area or the Santa Barbara area, come out and join us live. Go to tower26.com for that schedule. Jerry, what are we going to talk about next episode?
I think we're going to elaborate more on. I like this question, and I think this question needs a lot more attention than what we just gave it. So this is something we can touch on, but this definitely would come in under our open water skill building phase when we get there. So let's keep this question because I want to address more on it. But
Simon has a good idea with this compilation. He's not trying to sell anything. He just wants to show, hey, this is what pros do while they are out there executing their race.
And what I want to do actually in the next episode, to your point, Jim, is talk a little bit about what we're going to do in the next few days with the athletes off our national group, because even athletes at the pointy end still have flaws in tautness, alignment, and propulsion.
That's right. Well, It's going to be exciting for this camp. I'm excited to get out there and see these athletes, see what they're doing, and then pick on them, right? I'm going to bring my BB gun. I'm going to shoot them in the ass just like I do our Tower 26 athletes at our local practices. So it's going to be fun, and we'll have a recap of that next episode. That's going to be a lot of fun. So, Jer, always informative, always great to see you. And Batman and Robin are back at it. Thanks for having my back on course this week. I knew you were with me every step of the way. So we're going to keep on keeping on, baby.
I always come back to who's Batman?
Yeah, it's up for grabs. It depends on whose wife you ask. But hey, Jer, always fun. We will see you guys on the next one. For Jer Rodriguez, Jim Binsky, the Tower 26P Race Fair Podcast. Thanks, guys. Bye.